Hello everyone, good evening once again. Today will be again one more exciting session. But before that, I just want to touch upon in one of our last session we were discussing about the competition, whether the cutoffs will be higher because of the higher number of applications in CAT this year, which has been like almost 1 lakh plus from what it used to be according to the trend. It used to be somewhere around 2 lakh. This year it is around. I mean, it has crossed 3 lakh. But at the same time, what we have seen now is there has been 8,000 seats, approximately 8,000 seats, which has been increased in the IIMs, including IIM Mumbai, which used to be NEET. So I think somewhere it is getting balanced and cutoff or the competition may not be that tough what we were expecting or we were like thinking of, right, Dhruv? The other thing
Exactly.
is also, yeah, also IIFT is not having an exam this year. They used to have their own exam, but this year they're going to have the intake from CAT, right? So, yeah, so let's start now, and maybe end of the session we will have a little more discussion about the overall. Today's session is on work, and Dhruv sir has a lot of things to share with you. A great session. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Hi. So I'm assuming that the last few sessions, we have had a lot of sessions till now, including the intros for Quant, DILR. We had two advanced sessions for Quant as well as LRDI. So today's session will be about VNRC. Having said that, today is already 3rd of November. So if you have watched my last session also, uh, we'll start with the disclaimer that remember, now is not really the time to try anything new. Now is not the time to uh, try anything which is completely different from whatever you have been trying till now. So whatever I'm going to say is with the assumption that there are approximately 3 weeks left for the D-Day, and also with the assumption that in the last 1 month all the sessions that you have attended or you have watched, you have worked upon them, and based on that we will take it forward. All right, perfect. So today's session is essentially about VA and RC, verbal ability and the RC section. For CAT, this is the section with which the paper has been started for the last 2 3 years. Okay, in fact, if you look at 2019 onwards, VRC is the section with which the paper starts. Okay, uh, not that it is very important as to what the paper starts with, but having said that, why I generally think that this is a very important section is because uh, if you look at the crowd that writes cat, approximately 60 to 70% of the people are actually engineering science background, and that is precisely why uh, the VRC section is generally seen as something which is not their forte, which is not their strong section, and so on and so forth. And therefore, if something goes wrong in RC or something goes wrong in the VA section, then the motivation level might dip a little bit here and there. Uh, my only suggestion in this regard is nothing replaces preparation, nothing replaces the amount of hard work that you will need to do about it. uh, I want to start by breaking that myth once again and once and for all, maybe, that there's a complete myth that goes on that if I may use Hindi a little bit, that इंग्लिश का पढ़ाई नहीं हो सकता. ओके, इंग्लिश तो खाली प्रैक्टिस करके ही होता है. तो जैसे क्वांट और डीआई का फॉर्मूले होते हैं, क्वांट में आप 4 फॉर्मूला सीख सकते हो, शॉर्टकट सीख सकते हो. इंग्लिश में ऐसा कुछ पढ़ाई करने को नहीं है. देयर इज नो थ्योरी. You keep on doing RC and you keep on practicing parajumbles, and that's the only study that you can do. That is something which I repeat and reiterate, is absolutely a myth that should not be done. I hope you had your you attended the sessions earlier and you had taken uh, the advices that I had given last time. So let me start reiterating, and it is not late, reiterating the importance of reading skills. Okay. uh, Reading skills and good reading skills are very very important, not only for RC, it is important for the whole VRC section. What are the attributes of that? I will talk about it. But uh, unless and until you are a good reader, then uh, not only the VRC section but overall cat is not really going to be a great idea for you. Okay, so the first thing that I want to start with is saying that we have to be good readers, and therefore I will still insist, even in the last 3 weeks for cat, and maybe the 7 weeks that are left for zat, I would still recommend that maybe 1 hour you still keep aside just for doing some online reading. Okay. You might say that what is the use of that uh, directionless reading? uh, I'm not saying directionless, but having said that, you anyway have to prepare for general knowledge, current affairs for the post exam process, which is the GDPI process. So therefore it might help in that as well, plus uh, the reading and understanding the concept, and therefore the follow-ups of it will help you not only in reading comprehension, but a concentrated reading will also help you in parajumbles, para completion, inappropriate usage of words, sentence correction, para summary, and all that stuff. Okay. And as I had said even in the last time, that every writer, okay, every good writer, I'm not telling you to write some random stuff or some masala books that are available in the market, but every good writer, uh, average to good writer, has very clearly a roadmap, a plan with which they write a book. They want to tell you the story, they want to tell you their viewpoint in a manner which gets related. He has a plan, he understands his audience, he understands his readers, and he has a plan that he unleashes while writing the book. And therefore the closer you are as a reader to that roadmap, the better will be your comprehension of that book. Okay. We will talk about some strategies today about how to go close to that roadmap, and how do you improve your comprehension, and so on and so forth. But it is important that even today, or maybe for the next 3 weeks, or even for next 7 weeks, on your way to zat and nmat and snap, 1 hour in a day, relaxed, maybe lying down, maybe sitting on a couch or a sofa, or simply lying down or going to sleep, pick up something, pick a good book, start reading it. uh, just go through it. You don't have to really, how do I say, comprehend it like the way you do reading comprehension here. But yes, that will always build up that good reading skill, so that when you go and hit the paper, when you go and hit the post exam process, you will not find it to be difficult. Okay. So let's start with that. But before I go into deep, we have already told you that please keep reading beyond the practice. It is very very important. Second, read out of your comfort zones. Okay. Now the simplest thing is, if you are talking about the non literature people, most of the non literature people start reading fictions, and that too popular fictions. So popular fictions like Jeffrey Archer, or Chetan Bhagat, or Sidney Sheldons of the world. I am not against that, uh, but they will not come in your selection process. I don't think any topic from Jeffrey Archer or any topic from Sidney Sheldon will come in your exam process, whether it is the exam of cat or zat, or we are talking about the whole GDPI process. So therefore, start reading out of your comfort zones. If you are not a fan of philosophy, not a fan of religion, not a fan of economics, okay, not a fan of subjects like biotechnology or even theology or something like that, it may not be a bad idea to start reading about them. There are enough sources available. Even on campussutra.com, you have enough topics available to read. You can simply start reading about MBA life, etc., etc. Uh, Idea is not to get demotivated under pressure when you face a topic which is not the most comforting topic that you have gone through. Okay, online reading is anywhere better, and when I say online reading, I don't mean from an iPad, I mean from a computer. uh, Keeps you maintain concentration, keeps you maintain a practice of online reading. So that's how it is. One myth that I want to again break out here: lot of coaching institutes, lot of private tutors have overly emphasized on speed reading. I'll give you a very simple mathematics out of it. Generally in cat, if you look at last 2 3 4 years, there are four passages of approximately 600 to 700 to 600 to 1000 words. I have seen the longest being 1000 words. So on an average, we are talking about around 800 words per passage. That means 3200 words. If you add the questions, maybe 3500 words, 3600 words. If you look at 3600 words, and if you are actually putting 20 minutes to it, you don't need more than 180 words per minute. So all this techniques of making it 400 words per minute or 600 words per minute, I don't know how it is required. Having said that, in fact, truly speaking, if you look at the cat pattern, attempt pattern last year, people have been able to attempt only 3 out of the 4 passages. So it actually falls below that. So my suggestion to you is that at least at this stage, if you would have practiced speed reading, or you have uh, built your speed over last 6 months, then maybe you can carry it forward. But 3 weeks to cat and 7 weeks to zat, I don't really recommend speed reading. Not really required. The comprehension of the passage or the comprehension of the topic is a much more important aspect, and therefore I strongly recommend that speed reading, as of now, as of 4th of November, you can really dump. Not really required. If you have achieved approximately 150 to 180 words per minute uh, in 20 minutes, you should be able to attempt approximately 3.25 to 3.5 passages. What I mean by 3.25 or 3.5 is maybe that you'll not be able to answer all 4 questions of one passage, but at least you can answer 3 of one and 4 of the other and 2 of the third one, and so on and so forth. Job well done. Okay. Uh, However, what I also want you to understand is that uh, closing your brain and reading it does not make any sense. So therefore, every time you are reading, every time you are doing those relaxed readings, make an habit to make some small bullet points, some notes about a very simple exercise that you can do is to note down every new word that you have learned in that passage, if at all. Okay, so that you can go back to it or learn a usage out of it. The second one is obviously writing the main theme of the passage. What is the main central idea of the passage? Okay, or what is the main central idea of that article? So this is something which, beyond practice, I recommend even for the next 3 weeks and the next 7 weeks. uh, Without that, you going to cat, and if you have really not done any extra reading, and you are going to cat with only those 2 hours of practice mocks and etc., uh, you will find it difficult to keep your concentration level high, keep your motivation levels high, because uh, as I always say, no mock cat, no practice exercises, no timed exercises can match to the intensity, to the pressure, to the aura of the center when you go to write cat. Okay, so while we practice it, we plan it. I'm sure you have been practicing a lot, but having said that, cat day will be cat day. So my suggestion to you is that the more you do reading, the more you are comfortable with reading, the more you are able to look at the screen and keep on doing reading, the better it is for you as you face these papers. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to take the RC section and the VA section alag alag, and we will talk about the RC section and understand what is a good accuracy rate, what are the learnings, and so on and so forth. If you look at last few years paper, uh, there are approximately 3 to 4 passages or 4 questions each. So if you look at it, generally it is like 16 plus 8 or 16 plus 6, 16 being RC and 8 being VA. Okay, so you can automatically see that uh, this forms almost three-fourth of the paper, and therefore uh, three-fourth of the VA section, VRC section, and therefore I cannot ignore it. Okay, so if there is still a lingering question that can I go to the paper without attempting RC, will I clear my cutoffs, the answer is no, a very clear cut no. RC you have to attempt to clear the cutoff. Even if you get all the VA questions correctly, even and zero in RC, even then you will not be able to clear the cutoff. Very very unlikely, because uh, if you look at the historical averages, the cutoff in absolute terms for the VRC section has been slightly higher than quant as well as LRDI last year. And I will be talking about pure statistics, we will not be talking about any emotional values. Last year, good students, those who are in the top 10 percentile, could attempt 3 passages with high accuracy. And when I mean high accuracy in English, I mean 70% plus. Okay, so whatever they attempted, 70% or more of those questions were correct. Okay, so this is seemingly statistically a good attempt for RC. This is with the assumption that you will not give more than 20 to 25 minutes for the RC section. You will have to do VA as well. You will have to try, because as I said, the VA section takes much lesser time to read per question. So therefore, obviously, the marks come easier. But yeah, that's how it is. uh, does not require more than 130 to 140 words per minute reading speed. So if anybody has those fantastic 400 words or 500 words per reading speed, absolutely great, yeah, congratulations. It will help you, no doubt about it. But having said that, I still would say concentrate on comprehension and concentrate on making bullet points while reading the passage. That will help you much more than just finishing of the passage and then trying to attempt the question. So my suggestion is that for a 600 word passage, even if you are approximately giving 5 minutes or 6 minutes, looks cool to me. Okay, for a 600 word passage. uh, Slightly longish passage, I would suggest that don't start with that. You remember that we even in LRDI we had talked about that the length of the data or the length of the passage vis-a-vis the number of questions. So it looks like the more standard structure of the paper nowadays is that there is one passage followed by an equal number of questions for all the passages. So therefore, the only parameter therefore you will have to look into it is the length of the passage, because the number of questions mostly will be on an average 4 per passage. So though I there is nothing as a guarantee, but yeah, so therefore very longish passages, if at all, very unlikely, let me tell you, because I have never seen, right from 2009 when cat went online, I have never seen people being made to scroll down and down and down for RC. Generally one scroll, it brings down to the end of the passage. So my guess is even if we maintain that as a standard with correct font size, the passages will not be more than 800 to 1000 words long. So, as I said, 5 to 6 minutes, 7 minutes at max, you should be able to uh, do read 3 to 4 passages in approximately 20 to 25 minutes with fair amount of comprehension and fair amount of understanding. Uh, Now, what is important? A lot of people underestimate the importance of vocab. If you remember the last session, I had strongly emphasized that vocab will play a very, very important role. uh, CAD vocab may not be as difficult as a GRE vocab or something like that, but let me tell you upfront, it is definitely not easy. Okay, you don't expect the colloquial English vocab to come in CAT. Okay, they will pick up articles, they will pick up paragraphs from renowned writers, from good sources, from international sources, and so on. And therefore, there is a very high chance that the English that you see on the paper is international English, okay, or international standard English. So therefore, uh, vocab, if you have built very good, uh, if you refer to any good cat preparation book, they will tell you the most used words, the not so used words, and rarely used words, foreign words, uh, the roots, and etc. If you have gone through them, then you are fairly well prepared. But if in the first 2 to 3 minutes of starting to read a passage, if you are getting too many unknown words, my strong recommendation to you is that you might like to give up. Okay, because, and when, what is too many unknown words, let me put a number to it. If you have, in 2 minutes, if you have faced five or more unknown words, uh, and you have no clue whatsoever what do they mean, then it is too many. Okay, so in 2 minutes, which is practically, I can say, approximately 240 to 350 words, in approximately 350 words, if you have got five words which are really difficult, you have no clue what do they mean, the sentence is not giving you the context, then it may not be a bad idea to hop and go to the next passage, and not linger on that. So even if you feel that it is easy, sometimes it is better to go to the next passage. However, sometimes the context helps you to understand the passage completely. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'll leave with an example. So this is from a cat paper, and there was a passage regarding one of the ex presidents of a country. Okay, and there were topics about it, and there, this was the question. Okay, so the word used was obsequious. Now, I have no idea what is obsequious. Okay, so let's say I'm an engineer who has no idea about the word obsequious, and that is precisely what has been the question asked in the RC, that, in the above sentence, what does obsequious mean? Okay, uh, that's the question. I removed the option D because it was a quite giveaway. So that's a very funny option. So therefore, there was no requirement of it. Anybody wants to try reading the line and then telling me? I'll give around 20 seconds. So anybody who is attending it and can see it, maybe want to give it a try. Just reading the passage. No? Nobody? Anyone? I don't see. I see a lot of people. I see 13, 14 people attending it. Anyone on the chat window? Read the context, get me an answer. Okay. I see no answers, no tries. I know it is not quant. If it was quant, then very clearly, okay. Kushal says C, option C. Oh, a lot of C's are coming. Fantastic. Fantastic, Manish, Shweta, Nirmal. Very nice. Yeah. So even if you don't know the word, the context gives it away, right? Because it is a very happy sentence. It talks about making him the favorite of all. He had a complimentary word to say about everybody. You know the word complimentary, okay, and therefore that should immediately tell you that it cannot be deceiving, it cannot be critical, because if you are critical or deceiving with somebody, you could not have been the favorite of all. Okay, so even if you don't know the word, have a lookout for the context. Okay, what happens is when you read fast and you are not really concentrating on the context, you are not really concentrating on the exact situation, uh, then this word will look like a tough word. Okay, uh, however, if you had spent enough amount of time in understanding the context, enough amount of time in reading the context and understanding the theme of the passage, then you should be, as everybody has rightly pointed out, that I see only one person saying A. If somebody who is deceiving means किसी को ठगना, ओके, और किसी को बेवकूफ बनाना, तो किसी को बेवकूफ बनाता तो फेवरेट थोड़ी ना होता, right? So that's what I'm saying. So the fundamental idea is, even if you understood the context, then most of the time that you should be able to get some of them. Having said that, depending on your preparation, as I said, that if in the first 2 3 minutes after having read approximately 300 350 words, if there are five or more words which the context is not giving it away, you have no clue whatever is happening and what is the meaning of that word, then maybe you should skip that. Otherwise it looks fine to me that you should be able to do. Okay. uh, the other thing that I want to discuss is the tone, and the theme and the central idea. So this is a part of an RC passage uh, that I had picked it up from previous year's cat paper. If anybody from the Campus Sutra team can help copy paste it and put it on the chat window so that everybody can read. I hope everybody can read the passage. If not, just uh, do a little bit of magnification of the window. Take 2 minutes of time, and the practice that I'm trying to build out here is, uh, what do you understand by the tone, what is the main theme, and what is the central idea. So I want people to try, because I'm just giving you an overview of the process. So again, I'll give you approximately half a minute to read through. Anyone wants to try with the tone of the passage? Yeah, you can see it in the I can see that in the live chat. Somebody is putting the answers. Suchandra, in fact, came out with an answer. I'm assuming Suchandra is saying satirical. Perfect. Anybody else wants to try? And that is exactly where very clearly the importance of vocab will come into effect here. So if you people have read it through, uh, definitely he is critical of the presidents, a certain amount of presidents. He is saying that, somebody did not have charisma, somebody did not have uh, creepy, somebody was creepy, somebody was, so he definitely was critical of the presidents. Having said that, so okay, let's assume that constructive to nahi hai, ठीक है, so maybe constructive is not something which is there, but one thing that is there is very clearly he is critical. Um he is he confused? I don't think Kushal, he looks confused. He is not changing his stance throughout the passage. The author is not changing the stance throughout the passage. A confusing passage, and I will come to it in the next slide. A confusing passage is when the author is changing his stance off and on. So he starts by saying, this guy was good, but this guy was not good, this guy was bad, this guy was not bad, and so on and so forth. So that would have been confusing. Okay, wherein the theme of the passage was that the person who is reading it does not get the central idea about what he wants to say. That may be a planned thing. uh, Definitely not confusing. It is about essentially being critical or being satirical. uh, Now, what is the difference between being critical and satirical? Critical is when uh, you are saying negative things, but the tone of the passage is serious. The tone of the passage does not make fun of somebody. Okay, wherein if you look at the language out here, the presidents have been called unintelligible. The president has been called the plain speaking George Bush. Okay, ineffectual. So basically they are fundamentally saying, so just think about it. I mean, somebody is calling the president creepy. Okay, so here, while you are being critical, you are also trying to create a theme of making fun of the presidents. Okay, so that is where uh, beyond critical, while he is being critical about the presidents, very clearly he is also making fun of them. And that is why satirical comes into the picture. Satire is when you are being critical about somebody but making fun of them as well. Okay, so that's where uh, the importance and the usage of the word will play a very very important role. uh, the theme of the passage is a giveaway right in the first election. uh, Economically underestimated effect of charisma. Okay, they are fundamentally saying that no one can calculate the cost of having uninspired leaders. Okay, what is the cost of having, how do you quantify the impact of having bad leadership or uninspiring leadership on economy, is the theme of the passage. Okay, is the main thing that they are talking about. And he is fundamentally saying that there is no data or statistics to do that, but let's look at instances from the previous presidents to understand what happened in California state. Okay, so Therefore, this is very, very important that whenever you are reading such passages, uh, you have to, whenever you are seeing a question, I think when you are reading the passage, it is very, very important that you understand the tone of the passage. Okay, is he making fun of the characters in the passage? Is he being very serious? Is he being empathic? Is he being sad? Is he being angry? Okay, this is something you make a note down of while reading the passage or into the passage for approximately 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It is very, very important. Okay, if you are not doing that and you finish the passage, you will actually land up being confused, because cat passages are, as I say, not easy. And by the time you reach to the end of the passage, your brain starts uh, deleting a large part of whatever you have made up your mind in the previous part. Okay, the words start getting tougher, the themes start getting tougher. So therefore, in the initial stage, or even if you say that after, even if you make a note that 2 minutes, as of now it is satirical, 5 minutes, as of now he has just changed his stance and praised some of the presidents, so therefore it is now confusing. Okay, that is also fine, but these three things, it is very, very important that you get hold of lot of vocabulary as to what is satire, what is humor, what is mockery, uh, what is giving a compliment, what is praising, how is it different from giving a compliment. If you don't understand that, then RC, you will face difficulty in understanding the context. So every time you are practicing it, these three questions you have to answer while practicing. Okay, if you don't practice that, you are not practicing RC enough. Okay, if you think that मेरे 4 क्वेश्चन आए थे, मैंने चारों क्वेश्चन तो सही हो गए, वो पैसेज कैट में नहीं आएगा. करेक्ट, दैट पैसेज दैट यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग इज नॉट गोइंग टू कम इन कैट. You will have to face a completely new passage, and therefore, uh, going with the passage, understanding the tone, understanding the theme, understanding the central idea, and then taking forward it with the questions is what forms the foundation of RC preparation. Okay, uh, mind map and transitions. So I give you an example, while telling you what is a confusing theme or something like that. uh, Always make sure that you keep the flow in mind. What is he going towards? uh, and is there a change or a transition that is happening in the passage? For example, if there are words like however, although, if you look into it, if you look at the other side of the coin, that is exactly where the transitions happen. Okay, uh, the transition passages are not easy. So just to give you an example, uh, under that pressure, if the passages are actually not following one single theme and has multiple transitions or multiple deviations within the passage, in the 5 to 6 minutes that you invest on it, you will have lot of problems. Okay, you will end up confused saying that क्या बोलना चाह रहा है. Okay, so वो जो एक होता है ना, बोलना क्या चाहते हो भाई. Okay, so same thing. So कीप एन आई ऑन कि आफ्टर 2-3 मिनट में बहुत बार ट्रांजिशन तो नहीं हो गया है. अगर बहुत बार ट्रांजिशन हो जाता है ना, मतलब आप मान लीजिए हर 2 पैराग्राफ के बाद ट्रांजिशन होता है, that leads to lot of assumptions which are not there in the passage, but you just make it. Okay, for example, you'll have to differentiate, and we'll come to that. You'll have to differentiate between opinions and facts. Okay, I remember a topic from last year where he talked about HDFC being the best bank in India, whereas SBI is the greatest bank or the largest bank. uh, Now, one is an opinion, one is a fact, because when you are talking about the best bank in India, it might take into account different customer experiences. Okay, but when you say the largest bank in India, it only takes into account numbers and statistics, like how many accounts, how much money involved, how many deposits, how much casa, and so on. So therefore, what happens is, when both the things come together and they're comparing and contrasting, and they're talking about private banks being better, or PSU banks being better, and where should you keep your money, and so on, and there are a lot of transitions into the process, that leaves the reader confused. So unless and until you are very good with managing the transitions, my suggestion to everybody will be, in RCs where there are multiple transitions in the theme and the passage, if there are a lot of hovers, all those other side of the coin, notwithstanding, etc., etc., words, that will create a very confusing picture in your mind while answering the questions. Okay, so I know it is very easy to say that, you should avoid them and you should look at passages which gives you one theme, and so on and so forth. uh, I know it is almost impossible to keep those sanity, while attempting the paper. Having said that, if you have practiced well enough, as I said, you have done enough amount of conscious reading online, you should be able to do it. And as I said, good students are able to do and pick and choose three out of the four passages, the ones which does not have so many transitions and so forth. So therefore, be on a lookout for it. If they are not there, fantastic, you should attempt. If there are too many, if there is one and two, maybe you should try. But if there are too many, and if you want to dump this after investing around 3 to 4 minutes, it may be a good call. Okay, personal experience, and again, not to be taken as a general thing, but every time I have attempted forcefully one passage with too many transitions, at least two out of the four questions I have done wrong. Okay, reason is very simple. By the time it ended, I had lost the theme. I had lost the initial theme, because by the time it ended, my themes have got mixed up. Okay, so just have a look out for it. Avoidable RCs with too many transitions, this is something which I would like to do. uh, don't target all the passages. This is a very bad strategy. uh, it's good if it happens organically, fantastic, but my suggestion will be 3 out of 4 with good accuracy is very nice. Okay, more than enough. If you have been able to do, let's say, 10 questions, and out of them 7 are right, I will say for RC it looks fine. Okay, it looks fine. Obviously you'll have to do VA also, but yeah, 10 attempted, 7 right. 8 attempted, sorry, 10 attempted, 8 right. Looks to me, if you look at the statistics of last few years, again, take it with a pinch of salt, because you never know whether the paper will become easy or difficult or something like that. But yeah, if we make a strategy and we see the pattern for last so many years, you will see that it makes sense to do that. uh, Spend at least 2 3 minutes per passage. Don't give up quickly. One thing that we tend to do is we give up quickly. So लोगों को ये याद रहता है कि सन ने बोला था कि बहुत सारे न्यू वर्ड्स आया, बहुत सारा ट्रांजिशन आया, तो गिव अप मार देना। लोग ये भूल जाते हैं कि मैंने ये भी बोला था कि कॉन्टेक्स्ट भी देखना, राइट, या समझने का कोशिश भी करना, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ, एंड दे वी डोंट इवन वेट फॉर 2 3 minutes. So don't do that. Making any decision to give up on the passage or to go ahead with the passage will require at least 2 3 minutes of concentrated reading. यू कैन ऑलवेज आस्क मी सेइंग दैट सर आपने 5 मिनट बोला था पैसेज के लिए, उसमें 2 मिनट पढ़ने के बाद आप बोल रहे हो कि गिव अप मार दो. Is it not a waste of time? No, it is not. It is actually saving 2 minutes of extra time for the next passage, or maybe getting all the VA questions correct. So don't get unduly worried about it. It is only positive way of looking into it. But yeah, suggestion is don't give up before at least 2 to 3 minutes. It requires some amount of uh, time to understand the passage, to understand the theme, to make some small notes before you decide to continue or dump it as and on it happens. Uh, One question that I have been frequently asked is, should I go through the questions first and then start reading the passage? Uh, Questions first work for a limited group of people. I have not seen more than 1% of the people going correct with this strategy. But for most of us, the more uh, mortal ones, the more grounded ones, uh, for me, I have seen many other people as well. Uh, you don't remember the questions at all. You don't remember the questions because you have no idea about the passage. So even if you look at the questions with kind of long options, you just don't remember the options, you don't remember the question. So therefore, unless and until it is very data specific and very direct questions, very unlikely that the questions first works. So all I'm saying is that don't change your strategy now. If it is working for you, well and good. If it is not working for you, don't try. Okay, 3 weeks is too less a time to try something new. um, Okay, coming to VA quickly. Sentence correction, not a very common thing in CAT, but if they come, and if you are not from good English exposure background, if you have not read enough good books by good English authors, please don't rely on Chetan Bhagat for grammatical English. He might be a great writer, depending on your choice of books, but he does not write correct grammatical English. And therefore, you have to, if you are not exposed to old classics, or if you are not exposed to uh, modern contemporary good writers, whether it is I will not say in the range of Shashi Tharoor, but even if you have not read Upamanyu Chatterjee, or maybe even from the popular section, Jeffrey Archer, who is an Englishman, Oxford pass out for that matter. Uh, if you have not read them and you have not been exposed to correct English and etc., don't rely on sentence correction. Sentence correction, the problem with sentence correction and grammar rules is, you might have remembered 10 rules, but there are 20 exceptions, and you don't know whether the exceptions are coming or the rule direct application is coming. Uh, Parajumbles, paracompletion, parasummary are much more reliable for a non-English background student. When I mean non-English background, don't mean vernacular base of study. I mean somebody जिसने इंग्लिश का बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ाई नहीं किया है, लिटरेचर स्टूडेंट नहीं है, उसके घर में बहुत ज़्यादा इंग्लिश नहीं बोला जाता, उसने बहुत अच्छे बुक्स नहीं पढ़े हैं in their last 20-25 years of life. That is what I'm talking about, is non-English background. So we are talking about a quintessential engineer, or a science student, or a commerce student, or a BBA student, uh, who study books, textbooks, which are not really written with grammatical English. Okay, so parajumbles, paracompletion, parasummary with the strategies that you have already learned are much more reliable. In fact, sentence correction, thankfully, has not come in CAT for some time now. Even if they have come for only one question or something. So I generally suggest that if you are not really 100% sure about the rules or the exceptions, avoid sentence correction question. Um, Not more than 15 minutes, because each of these questions does not require more than 2 to 3 minutes to read. They are standalone questions most of the time. Uh, the passages are less than 120 to 100 words long. So therefore, even if it is a para jumble or a para completion, you should not require more than 2 minutes to read them. 8 questions, and therefore my guess is 15 minutes is good enough time to attempt approximately 4 to 5 out of them. However, my strong recommendation, if there are TETA questions, that is type in the answer questions, then they should be prioritized first, because there is no negative marking. Okay. So if you get a parajumble question, which is a TETA question, they type in the answer question, there is no negative marking, that should be obviously priority number 1. Okay. uh, Keep an eye on close options. As I said, opinion versus facts, understanding the if then concept, the cause and effect concept. uh, uh, this is very very important. Understand usage of the word. What is, so for example, if I talk about isolation and segregation and quarantine, okay, all the three actually means that, you put somebody slightly out of the rest of the people. But when and where, uh, when is quarantine used, where is isolation used, uh, what type of isolation is known as quarantining, is something which very very clearly is important. And therefore close options, for example, a lot of people come to me saying that, सर वीए में दो ऑप्शन तो क्लियरली आउट हो गए थे, बाकी दो क्लोज ऑप्शन थे, मैं जो भी मार्क करता हूँ वो गलत होता है. Okay. Find the statistics, because in all possibilities, uh, you are not revalidating them as to whether they were opinions or facts. You are not revalidating them in terms of the usage of the word. So unless and until your vocabulary is not great, uh, you will find it difficult to shortlist the last two close options. So again, coming back to the same point that, the word list, the usage of the words, close options, opinion facts, these are something which you definitely need to clear. I just took two examples. If again anybody wants to try, this is a question that came in cat 2018. How do I solve these questions? Anybody wants to try? Read it, put it the answer on the chat. Can you shortlist two answers? That is the whole idea. And then at least you can tell me which are the probable answers. Again, you will require a little bit of vocab, but understanding those words will be very, very important. So anybody wants to try? Give you half a minute maybe. Then we'll start explaining. Kushal is the only one answering. Where are others? So clearly, you are right, Kushal, and I'm happy that you have been able to at least shortlist two options. A and B are very clearly close options. Okay, A and B are very clearly close options, and uh, uh, let's first of all understand why not C and why not B. Uh, Adjudicate you do when you are doing dispute resolution. Okay, and computer technology cannot do dispute resolution, so that is for sure. Similarly, computers don't do research. They analyze the data and helps us do the research. So the human brain does the research. Keep that in mind. Computers don't do research. Human beings do the research. So therefore, these two words, these two definitely cannot be the answer. Now, where do I get it? Fundamentally, what I'm trying to say is that please, when there are two blanks, I should first concentrate on this blank. Let's not worry about this blank. Okay, concentrate on the first blank. Okay, very clearly a computer can collate. Very clearly a computer can extrapolate. What is extrapolation? Extrapolation is taking data, playing with them, and matching it with the current situation so that they can help making a decision. Okay, compare and contrast. That is what is extrapolation. uh, Very clearly, an advanced computer technology can do that. So therefore here very clearly this and this suits for the first one. Okay, now comes to the point that what will match up to the second one. For example, a computer technology can collate the information and then analyze. So it collects, arranges, and then analyzes. Looks like a same setup. Okay, whereas if you extrapolate, when you extrapolate the information, that is exactly where the close options will help. Extrapolate means वो उसको लाएगा, कंपेयर करेगा, चार डेटा नंबर ऑफ मल्टीपल सोर्सेस से लाएगा, उसको कंपेयर करेगा, उसको अरेंज करेगा, उसके बाद ऑटोमेटिकली असेंबल क्यों करेगा? There is no requirement of extrapolating, because extrapolating itself is comparing and contrasting. Okay, so when you extrapolate, you don't need to assemble any further, because why do I need to assemble them? I don't need to assemble them to draw conclusions for the same. So therefore the logical conclusion would have been that I collate and then I analyze, and from that analysis I can draw conclusion. So therefore here the answer is option A. Okay, so the fundamental thing that I'm trying to build out here is that shortlist an answer, and then not only shortlist the answer, you also match up with both of them, so that you can get and reach to what syncs with the theme of the passage. Okay, similarly I'm leaving just one example of parajumble here. Let's see whether anybody wants to play with it. This is basically arranging the sentences so that we form a coherent passage. I'm assuming Dipanshu means option 4D. Yeah, okay. B for Bombay, okay. So here you have to make blocks. Okay, here you have to make blocks. Look at C and look at A. If you look at C, he's saying, I'm lucky. I was lucky. Why were you lucky? You are lucky because a transplant happened, and that gave you a second life, right? He had given up on his life. He thought that his life has ended. Luckily, the transplant happened, and that gave you a second life. And that is why he feels that whatever life he has now got is a bonus. So therefore, if you look at it, CAB is definitely a coherent sequencing. Okay, if I look at sentences C, A, and B, that is a coherent combination. So therefore 1 and 4 is something which I will shortlist first. Both have CABs. Okay, because fundamentally what you are saying is, I am lucky because a transplant happened and I got a second life, and because I have got a second life, and I felt that अब मैं बच गया तो whatever life I have is a bonus. Then I initiated the exploration of the western shore of Lake Turkana. Okay, so therefore CAB. Now the only question to you is that ED बाद में आना चाहिए कि पहले आना चाहिए? The clue to this is he initiated an exploration. यानी यहाँ पे उसने कुछ भी scientific research, कुछ भी exploration, कुछ भी something he started. Okay, and from that exploration, the discoveries were worth waiting for, and following our first tentative prospecting came remarkable finds. Some of them are technically stunning, and so on and so forth. So therefore, if you understand it, That is a life changing thing. He has got a bonus, so he started exploration, and that exploration started giving results, and he got some remarkable finds. That is where the thing comes. That is what I am trying to build as an answer. So therefore, you will have to understand what happened, then what sequencing happened, then what results come. So therefore, this could not have been one, this has to be four. Okay, this is the sequencing and etc that you have to build while solving questions. And parajumbles, therefore, you'll have to look for blocks. So I told you that CAB is a block, and once you have shortlisted CAB, you will find that ED becomes a block, and you have to play with ED, whether it should come in the beginning or it should come in the end. Okay, those blocks and finding those blocks is very very important in parajumbles, para summary, and so on. I wanted to bring a lot of examples, but unfortunately, these PPTs and these YouTube channels don't give me enough space to show you big RCs and etc. But yeah, Campus Sutra has a lot of material on the website. You should definitely go through. To sum it up, it is still not too late to learn vocab and grammar. They can be lifesavers if RC is not friendly. So my suggestion to you is that इसको इग्नोर मत कीजिए प्लीज. मैं पहले भी एम्फेसिस कर चुका हूँ, अभी भी एम्फेसाइज कर रहा हूँ that vocab and grammar play a very very important role in finalizing those answers, and therefore requesting everybody that this should play a very important role. If you have still not done enough, not a bad idea to still do that. Don't play random. uh, चार में से अगर आप दो ऑप्शन रिजेक्ट नहीं कर पाए तो देन यू आर नॉट रेडी. Okay, as simple as that. Only practice will not help. The learning from the last sessions, I hope you have taken them. uh, just one word of caution about uh, and this is my only word of caution for VRC section. uh, this can be a very high or a very low accuracy section. Okay, generally you are on a high energy mode. This is what the paper starts with. You go all berserk, you are serious, you are high on adrenaline, and therefore you go with full energy and etc. And therefore it can completely destroy your accuracy. So my suggestion to you is, it is very important to be calm and composed, play with caution. VRC section forms very important uh, beginning of the paper. uh, my strong recommendation to you is that don't take it as कि मैं खाली practice करता रहूंगा and so on and so forth, because that is not really a good idea. Okay, I think Nirmale should take over from here. uh, since we'll be meeting very close to cat now, just 1 week before cat. I hope the next few days you should strongly prepare, and whatever sessions are left. लास्ट वीक जब हम लोग मिलेंगे तो मैं बोलूंगा कि आप लोग रिलैक्स करो. तो इसलिए बी रेडी, बिकॉज आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डू टू मच ऑफ स्टडी इन द लास्ट सेशन. या निर्मल्य, ओवर टू यू.
Thank you so much, Subhati sir, for the wonderful session. It was really, really helpful and insightful. Couple of points which you have mentioned, like for example, making notes. At times we feel that this is a easy kind of a paragraph, and what note to be made actually. But still, if we can make a note of at least one word or two words, it helps. It registers in the brain, and that is something which we should really really make a note of. And dates are coming closer, and as you said in the last session also, that not to try out new things, but at the same time practice, and practice. Keep calm, relax, enjoy the festival weekend which is coming up, but at the same time stay focused, and that's it. Like maybe that would help in an adverse situation also, when you are able to see that you are not able to probably find out between A and B which is the right, which seems very close. In fact, you have given a question in which both the answers, the options were very close. So my question to you is, In case I find both the options very close, what is my best thing to do? Do I attempt or do I leave? Because there is a negative marking also.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
going
I'm
to
going
use
to
a
use a
phrase which
phrase
you are
which you are
generally
generally
allowed to
allowed
use
to
only
use
after
only
you have
after you
done
have
your
done your
MBA.
MBA.
But let
But
me
let me
use that
use that
anyway,
anyway,
and that
and
is
that is
it
it
depends.
depends.
Okay,
Okay.
uh, your
Your
risk taking
risk-taking
capability
capability
to
to
try
try
out
out
something
something
random
random
purely
purely
depends
depends
on
on
how
how
many
many
attempts have
attempts
you
have you
done
done
till
till
now.
now.
Okay, so
Okay.
if in the
So if in the
first
first
15
15
20
20
minutes you
minutes
are
you are
happy with
happy
your
with
number
your
of
number of
attempts,
attempts,
you are
you are
confident about
confident
your
about your
attempts, and
attempts,
you
and you
think that okay, I have attempted already 12 13 questions and I'm 100% sure 10 of them will be correct, then taking a risk, no
no
worries,
worries,
please go
please
ahead
go
and
ahead
take
and
a
take
risk.
a risk.
But if
But
you have
if you
been
have been
very poor
very
with
poor
your
with your
attempts, दो
attempts, दो
आरसी
आरसी
समझ में
समझ
नहीं
में नहीं
आए,
आए,
एक
एक
आरसी सर
आरसी
के
सर
ऊपर
के
से
ऊपर
गया,
से गया,
एक
एक
आरसी
आरसी
बहुत
बहुत
कष्ट से
कष्ट
चार
से चार
अटेम्प्ट ही हुए
अटेम्प्ट ही हुए
हैं,
हैं,
अब मैं
अब
भाग
मैं
के
भाग
वी
के भी
आया हूँ
आया
कि
हूँ
मेरा
कि मेरा
जान बच
जान बच
जाए.
जाए.
Don't,
Don't,
don't.
don't.
Have faith
Have
in
faith in
yourself.
yourself.
You have
You
done
have
your
done your
preparations
preparations
well.
well.
You are
You are
good.
good.
If
If
you are
you are
finding it
finding it
difficult, then the
difficult, then
whole
the whole
world is
world is
finding it
finding it
difficult,
difficult,
and
and
therefore the
therefore the
cutoffs will be
cutoffs will be
less.
less. चेंज कर देता
Have faith
have
in
faith in
yourself.
yourself.
Don't try
Don't try
anything
anything
random.
random.
Uh, okay.
Okay.
The
The
disclaimer is
disclaimer
you
is
have
you have
studied well
studied well
and you have
and you have
prepared well.
prepared well.
If you have
If you have
prepared
prepared
well
well
and
and
you are
you are
finding it
finding it
difficult,
difficult,
the world
the
will
world
find
will
it
find it
difficult. So
difficult. So
therefore,
therefore,
don't try
don't
it
try it
random
random
if your
if your
attempts are
attempts are
already very
already very.
less.
Okay, so that was a very diplomatic answer. Like one has to judge whether has it, he or she has to really try that, attempt that question or not. But I would say it is safe that if you are not attempting it anyway. So
Theta questions you should attempt, but irrespective of whether you have been able to understand it or not. The questions which are type in the answers, because there is no negative marking officially, you should definitely answer, even if you have not been able to understand much about it. But other than that, it is risky.
thank you so much. And once again, before we close it, there are loads and loads of mock test and preparation modules in campussutra.com. I would request all of you to come again. It's a free session. It's like you can take as many as mock test as you want. In case if there is any requirement, you can do let us know. Do let us know. We would try to assist you, help you in whatever form which we are able to do in our own capacity, and we would always like to stand beside you and to assist you to do better, perform better. And very happy Diwali. We are off next week, and we will see you again next to next week. Thank you so much. Good night.